And here's what I would say about that. Kbev is one of the most successful programs that I've ever seen in my career. I mean, and I've said that publicly before. This is an amazing experience.
If you're really upset, the two places where your upsetness should be directed are your classmates and your teacher.
Hello, Normans. This is my co-principal, Ms. Kim Deckertrell.
And this is my co-principal, Mr. Drew Stewart. And together,
we are the Co's.
Hello, Mr. Carey. You have 3 minutes.
Oh, 3 minutes. Yeah. I could live and die in 3 seconds.
Okay. Go ahead.
Good evening, board.
Good evening.
I have a very interesting start of this year in that we've been given a reorganization of the CTE program, which is now supposed to become part of BHEA. And this could all turn out to be a beautiful ending. The only problem is it's like going to buy a house and they're only showing you the front door. And they said, sign in, go ahead, let's sign these contracts and let's get this thing done. And but once you buy it, that house is yours. There's no refund. Okay, sounds good. It's all beautiful. They explain to us that everything's beautiful, but we know nothing about the interior. I open the door and I walk in and it's a bottomless pit. That's my beginning of this school year. And that's not just me, that's every CTE teacher. How is it that the idea of transparency, completely talking about a group, look, we're pillars of this school. There's absolutely no doubt what we do. And we deserve a modicum of respect and dignity to be at the table when determinations are made that have everything to do with the stakeholders involved. How is it that it's okay? Look, I don't even know what's going on. I could be speaking completely out of line because maybe it's all beautiful. The house is golden. But the idea that I don't know anything about it, neither do any of my colleagues, I find extremely disturbing. That's it. And this could all end very well because the people behind it, they're generally all, I've seen in the past, outstanding. They come up with incredible decisions that seem a little strange in the beginning and they turn out to be okay. This might be one of those things. But the way they're learning as they go and they don't realize there is a method of operation that's right and there's a method of operation that's wrong. The method of operation in place right now, moving this, whatever it is, forward, has lost its place because you don't have a consensus by a closed clandestine group. You include the people that are involved. It's just that simple. And look, all we want to do is voice our opinions about whatever is going on and understand it better before we go and buy it. And the idea is, I've been told we're only allowed individual meetings, no group meetings. So that's it. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Carey. Thank you.
Is the high school not going to be attending Skills USA this year?
The anxious generation.
No, we
incredible
are still doing Skills USA.
Are you sure?
We're in the process. So we just secured for DECA alone. We just secured 2 advisors.
What departments are going to be competing in Skills USA? Because I've been told by the teachers specifically that they are not going to do Skills USA because their funding has been cut and their advisor has no.
I love this one. So transparency, here we go. You just riled the hornets, guys. And I know. For years in our district, we had a department called Career Technical Education, which was not a department. It was a group of teachers that we were able to put in, that were programs that we put together to collectively calibrate, because there wasn't other places for them necessarily to go at the time. We didn't have fully fleshed out pathways yet. We had Kbev, which was fully fleshed out, culinary arts, but we were picking up robotics here, we were picking up, MSA had only 2 classes, so there wasn't really this full, audio production was only a class at the time, fashion wasn't even thought of yet. And then as we were able to work to get them up to speed, fully funded, fully fleshed out, full classes, aligned with UC approved, which they were not 3 to 4 years ago. Now all of our pathways are UC approved. Because of the UC approval, because of the funding, we were able to then start placing them into the academic departments that they belong in. So examples would be, Kbev is a broadcast journalism credit through UC approval, and that is aligned with our visual and performing arts. It's a performing arts credit at UC. And so to have them sitting over there, not consulting with the actual performing arts department, with the broadcast journalism, and then even partially with English, we have them co-create. An example, culinary arts is actually a food sciences through UC approval, and it's a science course. We may teach it slightly different. We're trying to move it into that sciences component, but now they're aligned with science. So there's that piece of the puzzle that people need to understand, because people are saying, meaning there's 4 teachers, that are saying that then there's budget cuts. There wasn't. Cindy Dubin, who is the career advisor, was always just helping Dustin Seaman, I'm going to just be honest, with helping me orchestrate and finish these pathways. Now that they're fleshed out and they're in departments with department chairs, Cindy's now able to go back to doing what her original job was, is to career advise students on the Career Academy, which is our hotel rotation. We're looking at building one for legal and for real estate, because we have a lot of kids that want to go in the legal department and the real estate department. And so we're looking at different intern externships, and that's what Cindy's strengths lie. So they still have the same amount of funding, they're just in a different department. They don't have Cindy to do a lot of their legwork, meaning field trip forms and stuff. We're holding the teachers accountable like we would the yearbook advisor if they're going on a field trip, or an athletic coach. And then in the negotiations, in this last contract, all overnights were approved at a standard stipend for all teachers, because there's an equity of some are getting paid hourly to go to something. Well, we go on a 6th grade overnight for 4 days, and they're literally hiking up mountains in the snow, and they didn't get paid anything. And so the union negotiated with the district and the Board of Education at a $250 flat stipend for overnight trips. So that way we can entice more teachers to participate. And then there's 4 teachers that are saying that there's cuts, but it was a negotiated rate. And so if they aren't able to attend, we will sidestep them and find others to represent us.
Because the deadline for skills is like this month, and they haven't signed up yet.
I know, Cindy and I, we have our CTE advisory council meeting today at 4.
Okay,
We're going.
because the parents are getting misinformation about.
It's what's happened in our district for decades. The teachers don't like what the administration say, and what do? They go to you guys, rumors start, and then all of a sudden the pressure comes back on us, and that's not, we have to.
I mean, the bottom line is the kids,
Totally.
and we're trying to like build these pathways and make them strong. And if they're not going to be competing with other schools that are doing these specific pathways, what's the point of like building all of this?
100%. And then also, what's the point of you being part of it as a teacher if you're not going to fully flesh out the program that you said that you're going to work at? So that's my question back to the teacher, is if you're not the right person on the bus, there's a door, I'll pull over to the curb, right? And so, and that's the honest truth, is we have to have the people that are in it to do it for the right reasons, And there's still compensation that is negotiated equally amongst all of our teachers, where it was super unfair. We're always fighting for equity amongst our educators, and it was unfair that our fourth grade teachers weren't getting any money versus some people at the high school are getting thousands of dollars. And so if you go to a 2-night trip, that's $500 in your pocket. I'm like, pay me, I have to go for free. No, I'm just kidding.
And then last question,
Hi.
Hello.
Hi, Dr. Breggy, members of the board. How are you?
Good, thank you.
Thank you very much for having me here and allowing me to speak to the public. On behalf of the security officers of Beverly Hills Unified School District, represented by the California Schools Employees Association and its Beverly Hills Chapter 328. As I indicate by the signatures below, we like to enter a formal complaint against our Executive Director of Safety, Mark Mead. Mark Mead is both unprofessional and vindictive, often initiating workplace harassment, workplace bullying, creating a hostile work environment, and with his aggressive demeanor against our staff. His behavior has not only been witnessed by our unit, but teachers and administration alike. Mark Mead doesn't display the qualities of a leader or commitment to our department as a director. We feel his focus is to diminish and degrade our security department to focus on empowering security contractors by outsourcing our work to NASTIC and publicly acknowledging them instead of his district security team, who deal with students on a day-to-day basis, developing a great rapport, and that supports the students to safeguard the campus internally. Many of our department have had unprofessional encounters with Mark Mead. We have learned not to expect that he reflect or change his behavior after staff addresses it. As a non-management classified employees, if any of us spoke to any of our managers by yelling, shouting, or displaying any kind of aggressive behavior, we would be immediately disciplined and it would be rightfully be documented. We understand that his position comes with great responsibility, but we believe that those responsibilities does not include abusing the power granted to him. We hope that the board takes our concern seriously and takes swift and decisive action to address the behavior of our director. Thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you. Good evening. You have 3 minutes.
3 minutes. Oh, 3 is my favorite number. Madam President, Dr. Stern, ex-Kbever, Noah Margot, distinguished board member, and good to have an attorney. I mean, in board member Manicherry, and my favorite of all, Dr. Breggy. Oh, so the issue here is really a small one. Kbev, the equivalent to this school district's press, really enjoys and has for as long as I've known the privilege of doing its job. And that job is to cover all areas of board, could be established by the board, could be the district, could be administration. Those are all Brown Act ordained entities that would be involved in that. 2 weeks ago, on September 26th, a student went and recorded the PTA and was questioned, "What are you doing recording the PTA meeting?" Because we can. And then they mentioned that there was a CTE meeting, which was on the agenda, or the calendar, I should say. So the student, I'm not even interested in recording it myself. This is all student. This is student journalism. They said, "I want to record it." I said, "Go right ahead." Went to record it. They told him, "Get out of here. You can't record it." And then he left in a hurry, left it in the bag, and the bag was scooped up. The camera was still rolling. The camera disappeared. No one looked or had a conversation with me. I didn't hear anything from anybody except the camera was missing. I said, "Bring the camera back. We're using it for the football game." Camera returned with no cards in it. So I said, "Where's the cards?" They came back later, erased. I'm like, what? Well, look, I don't mind if you erased it, but I think there should have been an arbitrator. There's a legal, you've crossed the line. You don't erase something that we recorded in a public arena. If you think it was private, I've never seen a CTE advisory committee that wasn't public. Go to YouTube. There's thousands of them. To make and then they sent an email saying that this was, Penal Code 632. If you read the first line, it makes sense on your side. But if you read the rest of it, you're dead in the water. And so I just wanted to say that Kbev and student journalism shouldn't be. The student was interrogated the next day, had an emergency meeting with the principal. What did you do that? Basically, we have evidence that you did something, and it's just wrong. To be interrogated, journalism is not a crime. The pillar of a fair and open society is Kbev. And the idea that what just transpired, it screams as loud as you possibly can that why is it being taken from the public? That's it. And that's not allowed. I'm not going to allow it. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Carey? Kyle Neiman. Okay, I'm sorry if I mispronounced your last name. Thank you. Okay. You have 3 minutes.
3 minutes, okay. Thank you guys for having me. I really appreciate it. First thing I want to say is Mark Mead, during the Trump rally, I was just rallying like everyone else was, and he came up and just grabbed me in the neck, and it was completely unprovoked. I was just standing there with everyone else. He walked through the crowd and came and he grabbed me in the neck, and just for no reason. And I don't feel comfortable that he's at the school, that he didn't have any repercussions or anything. We're all held to a high standard. I think everybody should have consequences for their actions. When I went to the school, I've done things I'm not proud of at the school, and I've had consequences for it, as rightfully so, and I think there should be consequences, and I don't think that it's okay that he's still at this school. And I also want to say our rallying during the school was peaceful from what I saw. None of me and my friends were doing anything racist or saying anything racist. If other people were I didn't see it. I don't think people were doing that. I'm not denying what anyone's saying, but Persians, people, we're not that type of community. We don't, we're good people. We respect everyone. We respect everyone's beliefs. We accept everybody. We're also like a minority. We're Persian, so just in terms of that, I think it's kind of being a bad picture is being painted of us, and I think it's unfair because we're a good community. Thank you. Thank you guys for your time. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay, we have Kathy Hakakian. Hi. Hello, you have 3 minutes.
Sorry, I didn't prepare to write anything. My son is Kyle Neiman. Okay, sorry. I'm Kathy Hakakian. I'm Kyle Neiman's mother. He just spoke up here. I love Beverly Hills Unified School District, and I've always been grateful for staff that's always supported my son. Myself and Kyle's father, we have always supported the school in whatever they needed as far as Kyle and his IEP is concerned. He has been held to very high standards, and we were okay with that because at the end of the day, we want to raise a good human being. He's been held accountable for things, like he said, maybe rightfully so, maybe sometimes not so rightfully so. Either way, I think it's unacceptable. The man in this room, Mark Mead, he singled out my son on the day of the rally, and I have multiple videos of him literally charging through a crowd, opening two hands, putting it around my son's neck, shaking him to the point where the cap on his head fell off. I went in, I did make this report to Mr. Stewart, the principal. All that I was told was that we're going to open an investigation. And it's also my understanding that at the last meeting here, there was multiple students who also said the same thing about the same person. I find it unacceptable. He assaulted my son. My son is a young man. He didn't say anything to him. He did nothing to deserve it. Again, he singled my son out. He charged through a crowded room. And he's also been very unkind to my son in the past too, even telling other students that they shouldn't hang around with my son. I don't feel like people like Mark Mead deserve to be working around children at any age, at any capacity. To this day, no one has gotten back to me about the investigation on him, but I do see that he is in this room. I asked the staff to make sure that he would never be in the same room with my son until the investigation is over. And unfortunately, I do see him in this room right now. That's it. I think he assaulted my son. You should never put your hands on a child. If my son did that, I'm very sure that he would be arrested on campus. So I don't see why the staff members should get a carte blanche card when it comes to assault. And that's it. Thank you.
I'd like to call Robbie Curtis. Robbie, are you here? Okay, Robbie. That's nice to see you. For you, I can wait.
Very hard act to follow. Those students are quite exceptional. Good evening, Dr. Breggy, board members, and my dear friend, Rochelle Marcus, who has dedicated her life to this city as a teacher, advocate, and public servant. My name is Robbie Curtis, a proud graduate of Beverly Hills High School class of '73 and the father of two BHHS grads, '08 and '10. I stand before you because outrage is brewing, not just in the hallways of the high school, but throughout the greater Beverly Hills community. Students, alumni, and parents are deeply troubled by the recent indefinite suspension of perhaps the most admired, impactful, popular, and beloved teacher at Beverly, Romeo Carey. For the last 2 decades, Mr. Carey has done far more than teach. He has mentored, inspired, and propelled countless students into successful careers in media and beyond. But his contributions extend even further. Over the past decade, Mr. Carey has brought acclaim and pride to Norman Nation and our community. Under his leadership, Kbev students have dominated state and national competitions, winning state championships 9 out of the last 10 years, and representing California in the Skills USA broadcast news competition at the national level. Just this last year in Georgia, the students earned the silver medal, a remarkable testament to their hard work and his outstanding guidance. Kbev's success has been recognized in our nation's capital. Congressman Ted Lieu stood in the U.S. House of Representatives chamber and read a proclamation honoring Kbev and its achievements. That recognition, along with Kbev producing 3 Forbes 30 under 30 students, underscores the extraordinary impact of this program and Mr. Carey's leadership. He is the kind of educator who brings both prestige and purpose to our high school. So I asked the board, what happened here? Why has a teacher of Mr. Carey's caliber been sidelined without a single transparent conversation. Whispers echo throughout our city. What exactly is the issue under investigation? And why is the process cloaked in such secrecy? Is this about due process or perhaps something else, a personal grievance or vendetta? These are the questions being asked by the students, parents, and alums. The district's lack of transparency has fueled speculation, frustration, and suspicion. I know you cannot answer me directly, but I will say this. Mr. Carey is more than simply a teacher. He is a cornerstone of the school, a mentor whose guidance and kindness have already shaped generations of students and brought us national recognition. Taking it on my own to speak for the community and students past and present, I respectfully urge this board to conclude this investigation immediately and return Mr. Carey to the rightful place in his classroom. To delay further is to do irreparable harm to the students and to a man who has spent his life building futures and bringing honor to this school. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's okay.
I don't
Hi.
think they spelled it right here.
It's okay. So hi, my name is Natasha, and I had the privilege of being a student of Mr. Carey from August 2019 to June 2023 at Beverly Hills High School. Over those years, Mr. Carey became not just a teacher, but one of the best mentors I've had during my time at school. He was one of the few teachers that I felt comfortable talking about my life beyond academics, always offering advice that was both thoughtful and impactful. What stood out most about Mr. Carey was his genuine care for his students. He always made sure that we felt supported, both inside and outside the classroom. His dedication made a lasting impact on me, as well as so many of my peers and alumni. During my time in high school, I would talk to older relatives that attended Beverly about what teachers were still working there. Most of the time, the first questions that left their mouth was, "Is Mr. Carey still there?" When I would say yes, their faces would light up and they'd go on and on about their experiences in his class and how much they loved him. Having the privilege to be a part of Kbev made my high school experience. I used to work these board meetings, stay late to work on projects, and I genuinely cannot imagine my life without Kbev. And a part of what made that Kbev experience was Mr. Carey. Losing a teacher like Mr. Carey is a tremendous loss for our school community, as his guidance and compassion truly made a difference in our lives. Not only has he had an impact on the school, but the district as well by formulating everything media around Beverly. Without Mr. Carey, we would not have been able to accomplish our personal and technical achievements. Please ensure that the current situation is resolved in a fair manner. Thank you.
Thank you, Natasha. The last name is Albu, and the next person up is Jason Maybaum. Maybe Jason can be ready to go. Excuse me, is Oliver or?
Olivier.
Olivier, okay.
Dear members of the board, I have 3 children in the school district that attended 3 different schools during the pandemic, after the pandemic, wearing masks, not wearing masks, learning English with a mask, because we moved from France 3.5 years ago, and we moved to Beverly Hills for the Beverly Hills School District. Even though I kept a close eye on what my kids were doing at school, except for checking their homework, attending sport competitions or shows, I never really gotten involved in school matters because I was happy with the schools. However, every week my son showed me, here is the Norman update, here is Norman news. Oh, I have to stay at school to film the football game. Oh, and I have to film the school board meeting. I was like, wow. And I started seeing his name on the credits, and then I see my second son's name on the credits. And they talk to me all the time about Mr. Carey, Kbev, the work methods, the work ethics of Mr. Carey, and how much it's a positive experience, and so on and so forth. And then in December, I learned that Mr. Carey has been suspended. And here we are at the end of January, and Mr. Carey is still not back. Why? What crime has Mr. Carey committed at Beverly Hills High School so that they want to fire him so much? So I started to inquire about it. And I learned that apparently he posted a video made by students about a rally that happened on election day at school, and a lot of incidents were reported that day. There was a problem with a fashion teacher, with a history teacher, with the head of security. I don't exactly know what happened, and I'm not here to comment about that. Honestly, I didn't know half of this story until I received a message from my fellow parents saying we have to stand up for Mr. Carey. He's been a good teacher to our kids. Parents that I don't even know, but all feel the same way. Mr. Carey makes me think like Robin Williams in Dead Poets Society. And you may like him or not, he's an uncompromising character, but he's been great to the kids. He has taught them, inspired them, drove them to excel, and that is the crime that Mr. Carey has committed. So we need him back.
Thank you.
Thank
4
you.
minutes,
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Michael Rizzoli, Rocco's dad. He's a sophomore at Beverly Hills High School and a current student of Mr. Carey. First of all, I feel like I owe Mr. Carey a debt of gratitude. When my son started at Beverly Hills High last year as a freshman, he didn't know anyone at the school. Mr. Carey was his saving grace. He took Rocco under his wing and showed him kindness and became a mentor for him in the broadcast program. Starting from scratch at a school where it seemed like all the students knew each other, Mr. Carey made Rocco part of Kbev, which instantly made him comfortable and gave him a purpose at the school. My son immediately knew, my son immediately knew and worked with Mr. Carey's students at Kbev and the team. A couple of weeks later, Mr. Rocco was a cameraman shooting the varsity football game at the top of the press box at the football field. He has made his way at Beverly Hills High, and we owe that to Mr. Carey. From there, Rocco has worked on many events and projects in the school community, broadcast program, and eventually became a student employee of Kbev. With Mr. Carey's guidance, he also entered Skills USA competition and won a gold medal for for an audio project, and an accomplishment that we were very proud of. Gold medal. This year, however, directly because of Mr. Carey's absence, Rocco is not part of Skills. He will not be going for another gold medal. I know Mr. Carey, if Mr. Carey was there, he would have made sure my son had a chance. But unfortunately, he does not this year. Mr. Carey has been suspended for teaching students. Mr. Carey has been suspended from teaching his students for over 5 weeks now. He wasn't there for finals week. He wasn't there for Skills USA deadline. He hasn't been there to mentor his students for all of this valuable learning time. Parents were never informed by the school or the superintendent until the message was sent today that Mr. Carey has been suspended. We, concerned parents of Kbev students, were and continue to be completely left in the dark about the situation revolving around the suspension and left to draw our own conclusions about this and the Mr. Mead business and everything else that's going on, because you won't tell us anything. Which makes me wonder, is the policy of the board, the superintendent, and this board to choose not to communicate to parents? Is that the policy? I know you can't answer, and I know you won't answer. But this is a matter that involves the well-being of students at Beverly Hills High. Our students have not had their teacher, aside from subs filling in, taking attendance, for going on 6 weeks. 6 weeks! Yes, I realize there is suddenly interest in finding a replacement that I've heard about today. But 5 weeks with no teacher, is this okay? Is this normal operating procedure for this board and this superintendent? Disgusted by this. We continue to get vague and carefully worded messages from Dr. Breggy and the board telling us nothing, and I'm supposed to understand. I'm being asked to understand, right? I don't understand. The entire situation has been mismanaged and handled poorly by the superintendent and in turn members of this board. I know we have members here that is their first day. I cannot blame them on their first day. This is not his problem, and anyone else who it's his first day. I also feel like Principal Stewart has been caught in the crossfire of mismanagement, and we'll keep him out of it as well. Frankly, Dr. Breggy, you need to do better.
Thank you, Mr. Rizzoli.
Being transparent to these students and us parents. We need to know what's going on, and we should have known what's going on from day one.
Thank you.
Not 5 weeks later. And as of today, we still don't know what's going on. What's happening? Can somebody tell us? I will look forward to that. No, thank you.
Alex Irwin. Alex Irwin. Is Alex Irwin here? Alex? Alex? Lawrence Schoenberg. Did I say it wrong?
Hi. Hi. How are you? Nice to meet you. My husband already spoke before, so I'm sorry for my accent. You know, I feel like in a film because I wrote something and then I want to change everything. You know, like, first of all, you know, we were talking a lot about excellence all that time. And, you know, I feel that's what my kids, and especially one of my kids that wants to go to study film school, learned with Mr. Carey. And I'm very sad. You know, I don't want to blame anyone or to offend anyone, but I have to say that I'm really shocked. You know, I came here 3.5 years ago from France, and my children are very happy in the school, and I thought everything was wonderful. And then I discovered all these problems with Mr. Carey. And I realized that my kids are left outside of the studio, and I'm like, what's going on? And then they explained me that Mr. Carey is suspended. And I'm like, what happened? And you know kids, they don't tell you. They don't want you to get involved. They don't want you to start to make a revolution like we are doing right now since we know what's going on. And they don't understand. And when I ask them when he's gonna come back, they say they don't know. And I start to realize that the situation, which is supposed to be temporary, is continuing. And they have a sub that is not making them do anything, and they are bored, you know? And Mr. Carey is representing Kbev. And Kbev is very important for the school. And you might like it or not. He might have done things that you don't like, but Kbev is the image of the school. You cannot like that delete Kbev. You know, yesterday my kids again were left outside, and it's not fair for the kids. I don't understand why you are doing that. You know, because of political fights that you have between yourself, I can appreciate that Mr. Carey can be provocative, or he did something that you didn't want him to do. But if it's political, you know, he's doing journalism. America is not the country of free speech. I mean, I thought so. So I don't want you to hold us hostage. You know, you are answering nonsense to emails we are writing you, and it's clear that this event was an excuse maybe to putting Mr. Carey aside.
Excuse me, I have to interrupt, but your 2 minutes are up.
Yes, but I'm almost done.
Wrap it up.
So we need to put end to this nonsense, and we want to know what is going to be happening with Kbev. I don't want my kids not to be able to get into a studio because of your internal conflicts. So Mr. Carey is really important to a lot of kids, and you saw it, and he really helped mine when you arrived here. So he helped him, he gave him confidence, he created a group that reached the finals of Skills USA, which is very important to the school. So you should look at that. It's very important. Thank you.
Sorry if I stutter. Good evening, members of the board. My name is Sarah Werfar, and I graduated Beverly Hills High School in 2023. I'm here today to speak on behalf of Mr. Carey and to share the profound impact he has had on my life, my career, and countless of other students over the years. When I was just a freshman, I was told by the school principal that there was no room for me in the Kbev program because it was in such high demand. It was devastating to hear that my dream of working in film might not ever happen. But Mr. Carey saw something in me. He gave me a chance when no one else would. Even though I wasn't a part of the class freshman year, Mr. Carey welcomed me into the studio after school. He taught me how to edit videos and helped me create my own opportunities. Thanks to Mr. Carey's encouragement, not only did I make it into the class when the principal told me it wasn't possible, but I was officially hired by the school's district to film and edit videos like this board meeting happening right now for BHUSD. Under his guidance, I learned not just technical skills like editing in Premiere Pro, directing live productions, and operating advanced equipment, but also the leadership skills that have defined my career. He taught me how to take initiative, and when I asked him if I could start my own show, High Schoolers Answer, he said yes and gave me everything I needed to succeed. By my junior year, I was Kbev's lead producer and chief editor, managing productions like the Norman News and the Norman Update. People literally started calling me Miss Kbev, and I would even eat my lunch in there. Kbev was home. We competed in film competitions and won #1 in the state and had the opportunity to fly to Atlanta, Georgia for nationals, where we placed 6th in the nation. These experiences prepare me to work in the film and entertainment industry, and I truly believe I wouldn't be at UCLA right now or working my dream job right now for the world's #1 producer if it wasn't for Mr. Carey. Mr. Carey had always empowered me and other kids in Kbev to take a lead. He believes in the power of students' voices and the importance of truth. The district's choice to place Mr. Carey on leave makes me scared for the future. It undermines not only the Kbev program, but everything our country and our community stands for. Freedom. The First Amendment is something Mr. Carey has always emphasized. I remember that even a portion of our finals was dedicated to learning the U.S. Constitution because he wanted to instill the First Amendment into our minds, ensuring we knew that we could talk about anything. Silencing a teacher who preaches these values is a direct attack on the principles of education and democracy. Please reinstate Mr. Carey so he can continue to shape the lives of students like me who just need someone to believe in them. Thank you. I had to do it fast.
Next to speak is Bahari Akhtar. She's been seated time from Jen Peterson. She will have 4 minutes.
Good evening, members of the board, administrators, and members of the community. I sit here tonight to address a matter that strikes at the heart of what makes Beverly Hills Unified School District so extraordinary. Our commitment to excellence, innovation, and fostering an environment where students and educators alike are empowered to succeed. With this in mind, I wish to address the recent and, in my opinion, wrongful suspension of Mr. Romeo Carey, a long-standing and deeply impactful teacher in our school district. Mr. Carey is more than just an instructor. He is the cornerstone of Beverly Hills community. For over 20 years, he has led the Career Technical Education, CET, and dual enrollment program through Kbev, which have served not only his students, but the entire student body. Ironically, tonight, this very broadcast is happening because of what Mr. Carey has developed and sustained. His influence extends far beyond his classroom walls. Kbev programming reaches every student, every member, and every family who has ever tuned in. His work exemplifies the BHUSD mission to nurture lifelong learners, prepare students for the challenges of the dynamic world, and to create responsible global citizens. Under Mr. Carey's guidance, Kbev 6 has achieved remarkable success, earning multiple regional, state, and national Skills USA awards, including the prestigious second-place national prize last year. These accolades have brought immense pride and recognition to our school district. Beyond that, Mr. Carey has gone above and beyond to secure critical funding for this program, including a $250,000 grant to remodel the Kbev studio
and a multi-million-dollar grant for the CET program. None of these achievements, financial or reputational, could have been possible without his unwavering dedication, leadership, and drive. Throughout his tenure, Mr. Carey has mentored countless students who have gone on to pursue successful careers in media, film, journalism, and beyond. He has created opportunities for hands-on learning, empowering students with the tools, skills, and confidence to pursue their dreams. His dedication does not end at the high school level. He is widely popular with his GATE program, where he includes Kbev for middle schoolers and introduces younger learners to the world of broadcasting, journalism, and filmmaking, sparking creativity and passion for learning at an early age. This is the kind of innovation, forward-thinking instruction that fulfills the district's value of fostering creativity, critical thinking, and excellence in education. Mr. Carey is not just a teacher, he is a mentor, a motivator, and a role model. He has inspired students to push boundaries, think outside the box, and see their potential. Many of his former students still credit him as the pivotal influence of their lives, both personal and professional. These students have carried his lessons into college and their careers, reflecting the endearing impact he has taught them. The Beverly Hills Unified School District holds value of integrity, collaboration, and equality at its core. Mr. Carey's work reflects these values in every sense. He has collaborated timelessly with students, colleagues, and administrators to ensure that Kbev remains the beacon of excellence. He has treated every student with fairness and respect, giving each of them the opportunity to succeed. It seems deeply at odds with the values of the district to terminate a teacher who has done so much for the school financially, academically, and reputationally over the course of more than 20 years. Finally, I must address the troubling statement that went out to the parents today of the Kbev program, which announces that the replacement for Mr. Carey has already been interviewed. The statement wrongfully claimed that this individual was part of the Skills USA teaching team. This is false. Mr. Carey was the only instructional teacher advising the students during the second-place national win at Skills USA. Misleading parents and teachers in this way is outright wrong and misleading the integrity of the school district. I'm almost finished. I urge this board and our administrators to reconsider the suspension of Mr. Carey. His absence is not only harming the students who rally on his behalf, as you can see, but also undermines the values and mission that the Beverly Hills Unified School District strives to uphold. Let us not forget the critical role Mr. Carey played in fostering a positive, innovative learning environment, which directly supports the district's goal of preparing our students for a dynamic and ever-changing world. I hope you reconsider. Thank you.
Thank you. Arya Yaktafar has been seated Ricky Lee's time, so he has 4 minutes. Arya, you have 4 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you. Members of the board, I stand before you today not as a student, but as an alumnus of Beverly Hills High School and a political science student at USC. I'm deeply committed to the preservation and protection of the constitutional principles that form the bedrock of our republic. Chief among these is the First Amendment, an immutable pillar of democracy that guarantees us all the right to free speech. This right is not a privilege that is selectively granted, but a fundamental liberty secured for every citizen, including the educators like Mr. Carey. Mr. Carey has committed no transgression, no ethical breach, no dereliction of professional duty. His only so-called offense was exercising a constitutionally protected right. To punish him for this is not just an injustice to him personally, but an affront to the foundational principles that we as a society claim to uphold. If we allow this, we undermine the very essence of the freedoms that we are entrusted to protect. Let me share with you a story that exemplifies the impact Mr. Carey has had. In high school, I knew a student who at the start of the year would come every day to lunch and sit alone, without anyone to speak to or connect with. In the second week of school after he joined Kbev, just after 2 weeks, Mr. Carey took him under his wing, invited him to his classroom every single day at lunch, where other students gathered to do additional work for Kbev. Suddenly, this student found himself not just with a purpose, but with a newfound sense of belonging and community. He was forever changed by Mr. Carey's guidance, mentorship, and friendship. In fact, this student later wrote his entire college essay about Mr. Carey, about how he had given him the confidence and direction that fundamentally altered his life. This is just one of the many stories of Mr. Carey changing the life of a student. I must confess that I'm more of a man of numbers than words, and words can deceive you and beguile, but numbers cannot lie. And today, the numbers are before you. I have never seen this many students speaking at a school board meeting, ever. The sheer number of students today standing here, taking time out of their busy lives to come and speak on behalf of Mr. Carey should tell you everything you need to know. I do not need to weave a tapestry of eloquent rhetoric to convince you of his greatness. The presence of these students standing united is evidence enough. Why would Beverly Hills Unified School District seek to jeopardize the career of an educator who has changed the lives of so many for the better? Is not the value of education precisely that it changes the lives in a profound, endearing way? Isn't the motto of Beverly Hills High School today well lived? Well, today is not well lived if we're not upholding the values of the United States Constitution. Today is not well lived if we stand by while a teacher's First Amendment rights are trampled. Today is not well lived if we allow the silencing of educators who inspire their students to become engaged, thoughtful citizens. And I promise you, today is not well lived if we terminate Mr. Carey, for if we do, we risk sending a message that intellectual freedom and the protection of basic human rights are secondary to fear and conformity. As a student of political science, I understand that the erosion of one fundamental liberty sets a dangerous precedent for the erosion of all liberties. Silencing Mr. Carey would undermine the very fabric of our democratic system and send a chilling message to educators that their voices must be silenced when they express ideas outside of the accepted norm. This is not the kind of environment that we should cultivate in our schools, nor the legacy that we should leave for future generations. I urge you to rise above the expediency of momentary political pressures and stand resolutely on the side of justice, integrity, and constitutional fidelity. Reinstating Mr. Carey would reaffirm this district's commitment to the freedoms that define us as a people and would ensure that our schools remain sanctuaries of intellectual freedom and transformative education. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good evening, and thank you for the time.
You have 2 minutes, Dylan.
Yeah,
Thank you.
my name is Dylan Curtis, class of 2010.
Are you Robbie's son?
It's Robbie's son. It's hard to believe it's been 15 years, and it's even harder to believe that I'm sitting here having to discuss this. I sit before you tonight as a proud former student of Mr. Romeo Carey and Kbev. When I first started at Beverly, I was a shy, uncertain kid who barely had enough confidence to speak up for himself, let alone step in front of a camera. But in my sophomore year, I met Mr. Carey. Through his mentorship, encouragement, unwavering support, he literally changed my life. He didn't just tutor me on how to write and produce a show, host a segment, or report the news. He more importantly taught me how to believe in myself. Under his guidance, I became a confident student, hosting and producing several shows during my time at Kbev. In fact, years later, I revived one of those shows back to Beverly, and I owe that entirely to Mr. Carey's influence and encouragement. He is more than just a teacher. He is a mentor, a champion of students, the most caring educator I ever encountered at Beverly, and a man who's willing to travel 3,000 miles to attend a former student's wedding, which he did just 3 months ago for me. Romeo Carey is not just a part of what's right about Beverly, he is what is right about Beverly. The impact he has had on my life is profound, and I know countless other students who couldn't be here tonight who would say the same. I am forever grateful for his belief in me when I didn't yet believe in myself. Please do what is right and do it now. Mr. Carey belongs in the classroom, continuing to inspire the next generation. Thank you very much.